My name is Lauren and I'm interviewing Bill Spittles. So what was it like growing up in Kansas?
Well, it was nice. I lived on a farm until till I graduated from high school, and then we moved into Junction City. I lived in Gary County part of the time, and in Riley County part of the time. And then we moved to Junction City after that. When I was probably in the 3rd grade, 4th grade maybe, I'm not sure which, we had some bad weather, had a lot of snow, and we actually, me and my 2 sisters had to walk to school, and we walked in that snow, and that snow was about knee deep. And then as I grew up more, went to high school, I drove. I had to drive from the farm into Riley, Kansas to go to high school. And that's where I graduated from. Other memories of childhood, maybe you say childhood, I helped my father on the farm, and I learned to drive on the farm. My dad taught me how to drive, and I drove a truck and took him to work. He worked on the county roads, and I took him to work and come home, and I'd go and get him at night. And I was about 12 years old then. At that age, then you could drive. So, my family was my mother and dad, and 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and we got along fairly well. Once in a while we had a few arguments. And when we moved to town, I was 18 years old, I guess, and I was working. I worked at a grocery store called Chastain's Grocery in Junction City, and then I worked at J.C. Penney's in Junction City. And from there, I was drafted into the World War II war. I spent 3 years in the service, and then came home. I went to work selling cars. I sold cars for several years, and then I worked for a tire company. At that time, tires were not too plentiful, and so we would take in used tires, and we would recap them. We called them recap. And put new rubber around the tire. At that time, I think I only made about $10 a week.
Was he a lot? And
Well, it was still a fair wage at that time. And from there then, I sold cars, and then I managed a jewelry store. It's called Gerald's Jewelry. And then I went to work at in an appliance store selling refrigerators and food plans. When we moved into town, they bought a new home, and we lived in it for about 4 or 5 months, and the flood hit here, and it rained so bad, and it flooded a lot of the people out of their places, and ours was one of it. The flood took our home. Then the folks, my parents, bought another home, and we had it up until about years ago. And when my mother passed away, and Dad went into a rest home, and we lived with my sister for a while, and then went into a rest home, and we sold insurance agency for 23 years. Sold it. I had a heart attack on the way to a good life. I'm 86 years old, and so I think I'll last a little longer.
just a little. I hope you enjoyed hearing Bill Spittles tell about his life.